So I've been hearing this a lot lately. Body count doesn't matter. Body count doesn't matter. And they're talking about your sexual partners. People like Andrew Tate or Kevin Samuels or Marlon Gaines, whatever his name is on Fresh and Fit. And these people talk about how body count doesn't matter. And as a matter of fact, they actually brag about their body count. And what they're failing to tell you, all them shows I just mentioned, they're all humanistic. They're godless. They don't have the word of God in them. And so let's talk about body count for just a second here. When we talk about body count, first of all, number one, you're violating God's commands not to commit adultery. Exodus 20, verse 14, that's one of the commandments. And then even Jesus reiterated this in Matthew 20, chapter 5, verse 27 and 28. He said, if a man looks upon a woman with lust in his heart, he's already committed adultery. And so we're forbidden to commit adultery. Also, we're told in 1 Corinthians 6, 18 to flee fornication. Fornication, if you study that word out, it's porneia. It's a Greek word. We get the word pornography from it. And just a side note, some people define pornography as recreational, therapeutic, and there's no harm. That's baloney. They're improperly defining this word. Porneia, fornication, Greek word porneia, means images and pictures of lewd, wanton, deviant, sinful sex. That's why porn and graph, images and pictures of lewd, deviant, sinful sex. And so we're told to flee fornication, to run from it. And here's another thing that you need to understand, because we're called even 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11 talks about abstain lust, the fleshly lusts. Run from those our fleshly lust because they'll destroy. And here's why they destroy. A lot of people don't understand this. All sex marries you, but they don't harp on this. They don't teach you this. All sex marries you. I like to tell people all sex connects. God created sex in such a way that there's a fusing, there's a binding, the two become one. This is a form of marriage right here. All sex, God created it to bind you one to another. That's why he said the two become one. The problem is most of the things that we're having sex with, they're ungodly marriages, whether it's pornography habits, whether it's multiple partners and booty calls and all this other stuff. You're married. The first time you had sex, you were married because sex marries you. Now imagine this, you were with girl A and you had sex with her, 14, 15, 16, 18 years old. You had sex with her, but then you broke up with her in high school and now you're with girl B. You're committing adultery already because you married her sexually, not ceremonially, not legally, but sexually, covenantally. You married her because you had sex with her. And now you move on to girl B, committing adultery. Girl C, committing adultery. And it increases. I'll get back to this in a second. So we're told to flee fornication. If you read Proverbs 6:32, it says, whoever commits adultery lacks understanding and they destroy their own soul. One commentary, one translation even talks about whoever commits adultery lacks understanding. He's a fool. He's another fool, and he murders himself. He murders himself. This is your soul right here. This is your heart. We murder this. We poison this. And so we know that the two shall become one. That's Genesis 2:24. Says, man shall leave his mother and his father, and he shall cleave to his wife. That means they become one. And then even in 1 Corinthians 6:16, Paul wrote and said that, whatever we do with our sex, you become one with it, whether it's good or bad. And so there's this thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Maybe you guys don't know about it, but look it up. Type in male microchimerism. Google search for male microchimerism. What this is, what science has found out in the last 20 years, is that women harbor male DNA, and it's not from a pregnancy, and it's not from her daddy. It's not because she had a boy. A lot of times they're 50, 60, 70 years old, and science is finding out that these women have distinct male DNA that's not from their daddy or a baby boy they may have had. Where this DNA come from? There's only one option, because they've explored this and they don't want to admit this. It's because when a man deposits his semen inside of a woman, his semen is a part of her for life. That's what microchimerism is. And so a lot of people don't understand this. And think about it. Your body count, Body count doesn't matter. Well, that whole thing that God said the two shall become one, the two shall become one and become married is deeper than we realize, because your sexual partners, you're married to all these people. You basically tattooed the inside of her sexual organ, and so it's stained, permanently stained, and that DNA from that semen goes up into her brain, and it's just there for life. As a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but body count doesn't matter, right? There's this thing called imprinting also. And what you need to understand when they say body count doesn't matter, what you need to understand is that there's this thing, God created sex in such a powerful way that you're supposed to imprint. Imprint means to just cling to. And the problem is most guys, especially guys, what you're taught to imprint on the act. You were supposed to imprint on the girl. The problem is you weren't taught that. And so all you've ever known, all you've ever connected to was the act. So sex was just an act. But if you understood how to connect to the girl, it changes everything. It's not about sex anymore. It's about the girl. It's about the oneness of that union. It's not sex. It's not flesh anymore. So there's that.